know,
discuss.
as you said, you were talking about like guilt, and actually, I want to talk to you a little. I don't know how much you know about privilege theory and this idea of.
Funnily enough, man, I've got one of my questions here is, like I'd actually wrote it out like a question, right? Like a proper guy, man, like a proper guy. Do you believe white people are privileged just by default of the colour of their skin? If so, what is that privilege, and what separates us exclusively from other races?
Okay, I suspected something like this was going to come up, so I also done my homework and have some notes in front of me.
Cool.
As well.
By the way, these are they're genuinely just questions, man. Like,
yeah,
I want to learn doing this as much as anybody else.
Now let's. I'm going to be controversial for once and say that systemic racism exists, racial oppression exists, but privilege theory is not going to get us any closer to eradicating those systems. So privilege theory is this idea that oppression is enjoyed by those that have unearned privileges. You have a set of unearned privileges. You were born with them by virtue of your race, your gender, and sometimes you can even be unconscious of them, according to this school of thought. So basically, I actually have a quote here by a privileged theorist. She says, Frances Kendall, she's called, and she says, any of us who has race privilege, which all white people do, and therefore the power to put our prejudice into law, is racist by definition because we benefit from a racist system. Where my problem with this lies is that essentially what it's saying is, in response to racial oppression, all we need to do is recognise our own privileges, talk about our stories, and recognise other people's oppression without actually fighting the system which gives rise to that. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. I don't believe in all this, all these like kind of white confessions that I see on Facebook. Like this, basically people confessing their privileges, and it doesn't appear that these confessions actually lead to anything meaningful. So basically, what is the political project at the end of this? How are we going to stop racism? How are we going to eradicate discrimination? Oh, we just trade a few stories. I confront my granda about the way he talked about a Chinese takeaway the other night, and I can go to bed happy, knowing that I've, you know. So for me, ideas of privilege, the idea that white people, if you're white, straight, and heterosexual, that you can only really be an ally. You can't fight basically on the front lines because you don't understand what it's like. I'm against completely all these sorts of theories. I think they actually divide the movement. They divide the protest movement. We start calling out each other instead of directing our anger at the government, our governments which allow all this to go on.